So today we are doing some stretching on the legs and the hips and preparing for the splits. So exciting. So all three directions, the splits. So we got our right side like this and left side and then the center, just like that. Okay? So step one is to try to remain calm, even though this is like the most exciting thing you'll do all day. So calm. Step two is to get all the supplies you might need. So I always say props are a like to have, not a need to have, except for this. I really, really recommend something where if you're in a lunge and you lower your back knee down to the ground, if you feel like that might be helpful. And I use at the studio like a garden mat, but better than that is a blanket, something cushy, or even a pillow, like a cushy couch pillow. And the other thing that's really nice to have are yoga blocks or something like this to stabilize. We'll use them for our arms to stabilize while we are preparing for the splits and doing our various stretches. So you don't need them maybe at this hanging onto the side of a couch and a chair, something to help stabilize. I think that's probably all we'll need. So to begin, we'll start just like we do every other normal, regular, not as exciting class as this one. We'll start in our centering posture. So maybe that's child's pose. I really like starting in child's pose for most yoga classes. I also like Virasana, hero pose. Whatever feels like a good, cozy space for you, take a moment and get really settled in. It's nice to feel really comfortable. We'll be doing all of our stretching in a little bit. So find a space that's really accessible and really comfortable and start to feel grounded. Really let gravity draw you down towards earth. And just allow yourself to relax. It's nice to take those moments after rushing around in life and before starting your yoga practice to completely relax and let go of all thoughts and responsibilities. Just let them all fade away. Starting to tune inward. Just feeling the physical body. So the temperature of the air on your skin, the points on your body that make contact with the floor. Maybe tuning into the joints. How are they feeling? The ankles, the knees, hips, back, shoulders, the neck. And really bringing yourself to this moment. And then taking a few moments to set an intention for your practice. So it might be looking for more flexibility. This is definitely a great place to find more mobility. Or it might be that you're looking for inner peace, maybe looking for more energy during the day, maybe looking for better sleep at night. Taking a moment to find the benefit of yoga that you're looking for today. And from here, taking a few slow, deep breaths through the nose. And then slowly blinking the eyes open and moving into a downward facing dog. So hands at least shoulders width apart, tucking the toes under from hands and knees. And then hips pressing up and back to a big V, maybe even walking it out a little bit. Maybe you've got a big clunk to make with your hip like I always do. And then come on back to seated. So through hands and knees, come to seated. And we'll head into our first posture. So I like to sit up on a blanket, starting in Dandasana staff pose, seated with the legs forward. We'll bend the left knee and just placing the knee out to the side. You can support it on the blanket or not. Focusing on the outstretched leg, lifting up nice and tall on an inhale. On the exhale, folding forward and then closing the eyes and just hang out here for a little bit. Really trying to find your edge. Once you've found it, supporting yourself. Maybe you want to rest the forehead onto a block or maybe a couple blocks stacked depending on where you're at mobility-wise. Or maybe allowing the head to hang in space. Making yourself as comfortable as possible. And then finding stillness. And once we've been there for a few moments like we have, see if you can soften even more. Especially on each exhale. Softening and melting. Slowly floating all the way up. And releasing the bent leg forward, preparing for the other side. So bending the right leg, maybe supporting it with a blanket or something, maybe not. And then inhale, lifting up tall. And exhale, nice and slow and gooey, finding your edge and softening into it. Maybe taking notice if one leg is more flexible than the other, but no judgment. Just, oh, well, look at that. And carry on, especially on every exhale, softening and melting forward. And closing the eyes. Just checking in, seeing if the body is giving you a little more space to fold forward. Really softening into those spaces that feel the stretch. And slowly, slowly, going all the way up. And then preparing for straddle. So I'm actually going to get another blanket. I like to have a blanket beneath each of my heels and sit on one because I can, so why not? I'm going to turn a little bit sideways here so you can adjust in your space however you need to. And, oh, there we go. I'm seeing them, they move like that. When you're ready, inhale, lifting up tall. So legs just go, feet go as far apart as they possibly can. Maybe that's a little bit, maybe it's a lot. Either way, as far as they can, that's all we need to do. If it's a bit of a struggle to stay upright, keep the hands behind you, lifting up tall, really targeting the inseams of the legs for a stretch. Once you feel a stretch, just hold. If you're not feeling one yet, start to walk the hands forward. And then close the eyes and softening and melting. Sometimes in yoga or in life, poses like this that are really, really big stretches. It can sound hooey to say it out loud or hippy-dippy, but I have noticed from experience that it seems to be true. So if you feel in life like you are being pulled in two different directions and you don't like it, poses like this will feel harder. So it's not to say that people who can do the splits don't feel like that in life. It's not like that at all. Yoga is very individual, right? So I know for me, when I feel like I'm torn between two things and I don't know what to do and I don't like feeling that way, I will feel tighter, even though I can do the splits. Tight for me might be different from tight from someone who's never done exercise before, never stretched before in their life, that type of a thing. So the trick then is just don't feel like that. You're welcome. No, but seriously, what is the trick then? So this is why yoga is more than just stretching. Our physical practice is only 1/8 of what yoga is all about. So working towards feeling in life happy, healthy, and balanced. So if nothing else, if you're like, yeah, here I am doing this pose, it feels uncomfortable and it's really challenging, and yes, I do have that in my life, the first step would be just sort of letting that go for now. So feeling comfortable right now on your mat, knowing that this time, this practice is dedicated just for you to do whatever your intention was that you set for your practice today. And then after our practice, we go and make some real steps towards maybe not feeling like that in the outside world. And if you're like, no, I really have no feelings of that at all, no excuses, I just am not flexible, that's normal. That is normal too. We don't very often do poses like this on our own, on purpose anyways. So now come on all the way up. Now this one, even if you're very flexible, just take a second. So I like to kind of lean back, and then because I'm on slippy blankets, my legs just sort of magically move inwards a little bit. And then take a moment, and then come on out. Just taking a second. My blankets all got askewed here. So now switching it up a bit to low flying dragons. So starting out in a lunge with the right foot forward. Now I'm going to use my blanket to go underneath my back knee. So it's a big step forward. We don't want to be in this kind of a setup. We want to be really a big stretch as much as available. So here's where blocks can come in handy. We want both hands on the inside of that front foot and then lowering down as much as available. So maybe that's on a block, elbows, or maybe not. One of the reasons that it's nice to go down onto the elbows is because it gives the wrists a little bit of a break. So wherever you're at, just trying to be as low as possible, but not hunching. We're always looking for neutral spine in our poses here. So lengthening a little bit, but not rigid. So not like our traditional hatha practice. Not rigid, but length in the spine. Aiming for neutral-ish. If it's not 100% neutral, it's okay. That's just what we're going for eventually. So even when we lower, not hunching, but rather thinking heart, reaching forward just a little. So finding that space. That's just a gentle stretch. And then slow, deep breathing. Last few moments here. See if you can soften even more. And lengthen the breathing, so more oxygen to those muscles, and then soften. And then slowly come on all the way out, just taking a moment between sides in whatever pose you feel comfortable in. Taking a second. Not too long though. We have another side. So when you're ready, here we go. Setting the blanket up if you've got one behind you. To the other side. And this time left foot steps forward. And then one side might be a little bit different than the other, so just taking the same care and attention on that second side. When you're ready, lowering into it as much as available, and softening and melting. Again, trying to keep the spine nice and long. You can also sort of double up, multitask a little bit if you want to. You do not need to. But if you're feeling soft and relaxed in the hips, keep the neck level. And it actually works the back of the neck quite a little bit, which is great for strength. It kind of counteracts slouching. So thinking about the heart reaching down and forward, and then the head lifting a little bit, the chin lifting. Last deep breath here. And slowly, slowly, come on all the way out. All right, setting up for our next pose, which is dragons again, but this one is the high flying dragons. So same thing again with the cushion under the back knee, and this is where you might want your yoga blocks. So I really like to have one on each side to help stabilize. So right foot steps forward, way forward, and lifting up nice and tall. So once again, neutral spine. And for this one, trying to sink down towards the floor. And at the same time, a little bit drawing that right hip back and the left hip forward. And breathing. maybe even closing the eyes, which is a lot easier if you're holding onto something. And again, slow, deep breathing. Feeling the hips sinking and melting down towards the floor. And slowly, slowly, come on up. Again, even if you're flexible, just moving in slow-mo. Taking a second between sides. And when you feel ready, setting up for the other side. So this time, left foot steps forward. Back knee is down onto your mat or blanket. And then lifting up nice and tall. So this time, left hip draws back, right, guiding forward and allowing gravity to do all the work. You can even close your eyes. And once again, just taking a few deep breaths, really softening on each exhale. And come out, moving super gooey, slow. Taking a second. You can already feel so much more mobility after just those few stretches. The next one, we are not going to hold as long. This one is sometimes known as gecko. That's what I always call it. But I think more correctly, it would be some kind of frog, because of what Bakasana frog pose looks like. Anyways, I'm not going to argue that point. I'm going to focus on gecko. So we start in a lunge, right foot forward. You don't need your blocks for this one. But what we do is the more forward you are, the less weight that's on that back knee, and then pop the back toes off the floor. You can sort of see what I'm doing. Finding those toes with maybe the opposite hand. And just drawing the foot towards the hips. Couple deep breaths here. And slowly release. And other side. So left foot stepping forward. Right knee down onto the mat or your cushion. And then when you're ready, just popping those back toes off the floor, finding those toes, so being forward, 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 forward. And release. And just taking a second. Oh, we do need these once more. We've done all of our preparatory poses for Hanumanasana. Now it's time to head into Hanumanasana. It's so much fun. So for this one, I like to actually have, so starting in a lunge, right foot forward, but I like to place my front foot on something that's slidable. So I shift my whole pose forward, especially if you're on a B mat where it's just super sticky. So I've got my heel on my slidey blanket, trying to keep the hips as square as available, lifting up tall. The right leg moves forward. And it feels great. And you hold and you breathe. This one's an arm strengthener. And we're trying to find stillness. Carla's not very good at stillness. Keep breathing. What we're trying to do in this position, one of the reasons I'm wiggling so much, is we're trying to get the back leg right in the hip to feel the stretch as much as the front leg. So I'm trying to kind of go and really reach my back hip forward and lift up tall so that I feel the stretch in the back leg as much as the front. And one of the ways I try to achieve that is actually visually. I'm trying to think about my entire thigh bone of my back leg. So the top of my femur, I'm thinking about that reaching the floor. So I'm thinking about almost like a hinge. My knee's on the floor, if my elbow is representing my knee, and the top of my thigh bone is pushing down. That's what I'm aiming for. And it's not about being flat. Like I could be flat, but it's not about being flat. It's about being square and getting that equal stretch. A couple more deep breaths. Almost done. And to come out. Whew, okay, slowly reverse course. As always, moving slower than you think you need to. Take your time. Take your time. Take a second. This is really good on the wrists. If you're feeling like, oh, on the wrist, it's actually really healthy for the wrist, but maybe just take a moment. We've been doing a lot with the blocks. This builds bone density, which is really, really good for us when we weight bear onto our arms. So it's really important to know the difference between hurt and harm. We'll talk about that as we do our second side here. So just tell your wrists we're almost done. Last time, last side for this posture here. I'm move my blanket over to this side. Here we go. Now left foot steps forward and heading into it on the left. Breathing deep. The difference between hurt and harm. Something can be like, oh, that hurts, but it's more of an ache, and that's totally healthy usually, unless it's maybe at a joint. But I know the wrist, that's a joint, and if it's achy, that's usually okay still. So we're looking to build strength, but if something feels like sharp pain, we need to come out. So this is why sometimes it's good to have you can have your elbow on a chair maybe instead. And again, really targeting the hips to be square, really feeling that back leg stretching. In the home stretch. Keeping things square. Feeling the stretch in the back leg as much as the front. Already done. To come out, move slowly. Belly scoops in, slowly, 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 slowly. Take a second. All right. We only have 2 poses left. And they're not even rights and lefts. There's just 2 stretches left. That's it. So this next one is so much fun. It's called frog. They're all frog. There's so many reptiles in yoga, really. But this one, I like to have both of my knees on a blanket. So I'm going to pull up my pants for this one. I feel like I should have suspenders. One knee goes on one blanket, one goes on another, and then I need one for my forearms here. So my wrists are like, no, Carla, So you just let the blanket slide. And here we are. Just good, clean fun. Having fun. If you haven't noticed. Slowing down the breathing. I'm just trying to throw things to distract me, I guess. I often get asked the question, should the toes be together or not? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't for this one. And slowly, slowly come out. So luckily we don't hold that one very long. Take a second. The last one we're also not holding as long. And it's the funnest one of all. It's called Sama Konasana. Now Sama means same. So means same angle. One leg and the other leg. So that would be our center split, starting from up high. So for this one, again, I like to start on one leg, maybe being secured on a sticky mat, the other one being able to slide, or both sliding. So whenever you're ready, from up high, sliding as much as you can. And we're not here too long, so breathing, maybe 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on out. And like I said, just like we did with the straddle, just give yourself a second and then kind of just organically come on out. Brilliant. So let's gather our teddies and blankies, whatever you need to feel cozy, and prepare for Shavasana, final resting pose. So maybe you would like to keep your knees bent with the feet on the floor for your Shavasana today, or Maybe you'd like to extend the legs. Either way, extending the arms along your sides, palms facing up, and closing the eyes. Softening everything. But especially through the neck and the shoulders and all the way down the arms. Letting the fingers softly curl. Softening through the face. Softening around the eyes. And even the muscle between the eyes. Just letting it all go. And if you'd like to stay a little longer, feel free to do so. Otherwise, wiggling fingers and toes. Gently roll your head from side to side. Then reaching your arms above head on the floor, give yourself a big stretch, feeling totally refreshed. And bending your knees. Gently roll over to the right side. Pausing there for just a moment as you come back. And slowly press yourself all the way up to a comfortable seated position, taking all the time you need. When you arrive, palms facing up on the knees, inhale, sitting up tall, and exhale, softly close the eyes. And taking those final moments to thank yourself for showing up to your practice today, to take care of you. Adding an additional little silent thought to someone else who might need it today. And slowly open the eyes. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. Little extra water today after the practice. And just be really kind to your joints and to yourself, to your body. Today was a big one, whether you were aware of it at the time or not. So continuing to feel open and not pressured to be pulled in two directions at once. Know where you stand. Have your own personal boundaries. Have a really good rest of your day. See you next time.